Have you ever felt that sudden, shocking pain in your calf that wakes you out of a deep sleep? The kind that makes you grab your leg, hold your breath, and wonder what on earth is happening inside your body. If you've ever had that moment, you're not alone. Millions of older adults across the country wake up with the same fear, the same helplessness, and the same question: why is this happening to me? A patient once told me something I'll never forget. She said, "Dr. Carter, I stretch every night, I drink water, I take potassium, but the cramps keep coming back. What am I doing wrong?" And she asked that with such sincerity, as if her body was betraying her. But the truth was far gentler. Her body wasn't failing. It was speaking. Now imagine this for a moment. Inside your muscle, tiny nerve signals fire to help it contract and relax. But something silent, something small, something you ate without thinking, can shift that balance. A certain food can tighten the muscle fibers just a little more. A salty dinner can pull water out of the cells. A sugary snack can drain the minerals your muscles depend on. And that quiet imbalance becomes the intense cramp that wakes you from sleep. Most people blame dehydration or age, and while those play a role, they aren't the full story. The deeper truth is that some foods disrupt your electrolyte balance without you realizing it. Some foods create inflammation in muscles that are already more sensitive after 60. Some foods drain magnesium or send your sodium levels soaring. Your legs aren't just reacting randomly. They're responding to signals you may not be aware of. Tonight, we're going to shine a light on the foods seniors should never eat if they want fewer leg cramps. I'll walk you through simple science, real stories, and practical guidance you can start using right away. Stay with me until the end, because understanding these foods can change your nights and your mornings. And before we go deeper, if you find value in learning about your health, take a moment to subscribe, like, and share Senior Health Daily. Your support truly inspires me to keep creating life-changing content for you. I've spent decades helping older adults overcome leg cramps, and I've seen firsthand how small dietary changes can transform sleep and restore confidence. Let's explore this together. Why foods trigger leg cramps in seniors? When you think about leg cramps, you probably think about tight muscles, aging joints, or maybe not drinking enough water during the day. But what surprises many seniors is that food itself can be the spark that lights the fuse. Food is not just fuel for the body. It is chemistry. It shapes the way your muscles contract, the way your nerves fire, and the way your blood vessels respond to stress. As we grow older, our muscles do not behave the way they used to. They recover more slowly after activity and hold tension longer than they did decades ago. The fibers themselves can become tighter, almost like rubber bands that have been stretched too many times. They still work, but they don't return to their relaxed state as quickly or as easily. And when a muscle cannot relax smoothly, all it takes is the slightest imbalance for a cramp to strike. One of the biggest changes after age 60 is the natural decline of minerals that keep muscles stable. Magnesium, calcium, and potassium are like the body's calming trio. They help muscles contract and release in a steady rhythm. But many older adults unknowingly walk around with lower levels of these minerals, making their muscles more sensitive, more reactive, and more easily overloaded. And this is where food becomes powerful. Certain foods disrupt the delicate balance your muscles rely on. Others draw water out of your cells, leaving your muscles dehydrated from the inside. And some foods create inflammation, which irritates nerve endings and makes the legs more prone to sudden tightening. I often tell my patients that muscles are a lot like ropes. A healthy muscle is a rope with just the right amount of tension, but a dehydrating meal, a salty dinner, or a sugary dessert can pull that rope tighter and tighter until one moment, usually at night or early morning, the rope snaps into a cramp. That cramp feels sudden, but the tension was building long before you felt it. Muscles also rely on good circulation to deliver oxygen and minerals. But as you age, circulation slows, especially in the calves and feet. When you eat foods that increase inflammation or that cause water retention, blood flow becomes even less efficient. Oxygen drops and muscles misfire. This becomes especially noticeable at night when movement is minimal and circulation is at its lowest point. What you ate hours earlier is now revealing its full effect. I once had a patient who loved canned soups. She thought they were convenient, heartwarming, and harmless. But she didn't realize that her favorite soups were packed with sodium. Every night she had a bowl, and almost every night she had a cramp. She didn't connect the two until we looked closely at her diet. Within a week of reducing her sodium intake, her nighttime cramps nearly disappeared. The transformation felt magical to her, but in reality, it was simple biology finally working in her favor. Foods can either relax your muscles or aggravate them. They can either hydrate your tissues or pull water away from them. The more we understand what our bodies need after 60, the more control we gain over those painful moments that steal our sleep and peace. As we continue, you'll see how each food category affects the contraction and relaxation cycle of your muscles, and why some foods seniors commonly eat may be making their cramps far worse than they realize. And before we go deeper, if this video is helping you understand your health, please subscribe, like, and share Senior Health Daily. It gives me the motivation to create more life-saving content for you. Now that you understand why food plays such a powerful role in leg cramps, let's look closely at the specific foods that so many seniors eat every day without knowing how strongly they affect their muscles. Foods that make leg cramps worse. When my patients first learn that food can trigger muscle cramps, their reactions are almost always the same: surprise, confusion, and sometimes a little disbelief. Many seniors tell me, "Dr. Carter, I've been eating these foods all my life. How could they suddenly be causing cramps now?" Neat. The answer is simple but often overlooked. Your body at 60, 70, or 80 behaves differently than your body at 30 or 40. What you once tolerated with ease may now strain your cells, your circulation, and your muscles. Let's walk through the categories of foods that silently intensify leg cramps in seniors. As we go, I want you to think not just about what you eat, but when you eat it and how your body might be responding later in the night. These foods do not cause problems in isolation. They interact with aging muscles, slower circulation, and shifting mineral levels. That combination is what makes them so powerful. High-sodium processed foods. One of the most common culprits is high-sodium processed foods. These foods include bacon, ham, deli meats, canned soups, frozen dinners, packaged sauces, and many restaurant takeout meals. Sodium itself is not the enemy, but too much of it upsets the fluid balance in your muscles. Sodium pulls water out of cells, causing them to contract. For a younger person, the kidneys compensate quickly. But for someone over 60, the kidneys simply do not regulate sodium as efficiently. Excess sodium remains in the bloodstream longer, creating water retention throughout the body while paradoxically dehydrating the cells. The result is a muscle that feels dry on the inside, tight on the outside, and prone to sudden contraction. I remember a man in his 70s who came to me convinced he had circulation disease because his calves cramped every night. It turned out he was eating canned soup almost daily. The moment he switched to low-sodium homemade soups, his cramps eased dramatically. It was not medication he needed. It was balance. Sugary foods and desserts. Sugar may seem harmless and comforting, but it has a profound effect on mineral balance. When you eat sugary foods like pastries, donuts, sweetened coffee drinks, soda, or dessert after dinner, your body releases insulin to manage the sudden spike in blood glucose. That insulin surge causes your kidneys to flush magnesium out of your system. Magnesium is the mineral responsible for relaxing your muscles. When magnesium levels drop, the muscle fibers behave like a clenched fist that cannot fully open. Sugar also fuels inflammation. Inflammation irritates the tiny nerves that run along your muscles, making them more reactive and sensitive. For seniors who already have lower magnesium levels and higher nerve sensitivity, sugar acts like a spark landing on dry leaves. The result is often a cramp that appears out of nowhere. Caffeine. Overload coffee is not the enemy. Many of my patients enjoy their morning cup. The issue arises when caffeine intake becomes excessive or when beverages like energy drinks, sweet iced coffees, or strong afternoon coffees become part of the daily routine. Caffeine is a diuretic, which means it causes you to lose water through urination. Mild dehydration builds silently throughout the day, especially if you avoid drinking water in the late afternoon or evening to reduce nighttime bathroom trips. By bedtime, your muscles may already be thirsty, and dehydration is a major trigger for nighttime leg cramps. The combination of aging muscles, reduced nighttime circulation, and low hydration sets the stage for the early morning cramp that has startled so many seniors awake. Dehydration foods. There are also foods that cause dehydration without you realizing it. Salty snacks, chips, crackers, packaged sauces, and even some restaurant meals remove more water from your tissues than they contribute. For someone over 60, who may already be drinking less water, these foods quietly amplify the risk of cramps. When your cells become dehydrated, they struggle to maintain electrolyte balance. Muscles need the right ratio of sodium, potassium, and magnesium to work properly. Dehydration disrupts that ratio and makes sudden muscle tightening much more likely. Many seniors tell me they avoid water after 6 p.m. to prevent nighttime trips to the bathroom. While understandable, this often means they go to bed already dehydrated. Combine that with salty or processed foods eaten at dinner, and the conditions are perfect for a painful cramp at 2 in the morning. High oxalate foods in large amounts. Now let's talk about something very few people know. High oxalate foods. Oxalates are natural compounds found in foods like spinach, beets, almonds, and rhubarb. These foods are not unhealthy. In fact, they are nutritious. But too many oxalates can bind to magnesium, making it unavailable to the muscles. Remember, magnesium is crucial for muscle relaxation. When oxalates steal magnesium away, cramps become more likely. A surprising number of seniors began adding large amounts of spinach to smoothies or making beet salads because they thought they were eating clean and healthy. And they were. But too much of a good thing can create imbalance. Moderation matters, especially when your body is more sensitive. Alcohol. Alcohol is another major contributor to leg cramps. It disrupts sleep cycles, drains electrolytes, and dehydrates the body. Even 1 or 2 drinks in the evening can lead to poor sleep quality and increased nighttime urination, both of which worsen the likelihood of a cramp. The combination of dehydration and mineral loss is especially harsh on aging muscles. I recall a woman who told me she enjoyed a glass of wine every evening to help her relax before bed. She had no idea that the wine was contributing to her chronic nighttime cramps. When she switched to herbal tea, her cramps improved within a week. Inflammatory foods. Finally, there are foods that increase inflammation. These include fried foods, fast food, heavily processed oils, and many packaged snacks. Inflammation irritates the nerves that communicate with your muscles. For older adults whose nerves are already more reactive, inflammatory foods can dramatically increase. The likelihood of cramps. You may not feel the inflammation immediately, but your legs feel it at night. Inflammation narrows the blood vessels, slowing the delivery of oxygen to your muscles. This oxygen drop contributes to the sudden tightening and sharp pain that defines a leg cramp. When you look at all these categories together, you begin to see a clear pattern. Foods affect fluid balance, mineral levels, nerve behavior, and inflammation. The more out of balance these factors become, the more likely it is that your muscles will tighten when you least expect it. Your body is not punishing you, it is responding to what you feed it. And the good news is that when we understand these triggers, we can replace them with foods that nourish, relax, and protect your muscles. Hidden patterns. Seniors never realize. One of the most surprising things I've learned over decades of caring for older adults is that leg cramps rarely come out of nowhere. They feel sudden, but the conditions that create them often begin hours before the cramp appears. Many seniors try everything they can think of to stop the pain. They stretch before bed, they take supplements, they massage their legs, they elevate their feet. Yet the cramps keep returning, and they have no idea why. The truth is that certain daily habits, especially eating patterns, quietly set the stage for cramps long before bedtime. These patterns are not obvious. In fact, most people never suspect they play a role at all. But when we look closely at the rhythm of the day, the timing of meals, and the types of foods seniors commonly eat, the picture becomes much clearer. One hidden pattern I see often is eating salty dinners. Many older adults prefer simple, flavorful meals in the evening, especially soups, sandwiches, canned foods, or light processed dinners. The problem is that these foods are usually high in sodium. When you eat a salty dinner, your body spends the next several hours trying to balance fluids. This means pulling water from your cells into the bloodstream. For younger people, this might cause nothing more than a bit of thirst. But for someone over 60, it can dehydrate the muscle tissue itself. By 2 or 3 in the morning, when circulation naturally slows and the muscles are still, that dehydration can trigger a cramp that feels almost vicious. Another pattern involves sweets. Many seniors enjoy a dessert after dinner or a sweet coffee drink before bed. They often see it as a small comfort at the end of the day. But sugar spikes blood glucose, and when blood sugar drops later, insulin triggers magnesium loss. Most people never feel this shift while they're awake. But at night, when nerves are more sensitive and muscles are less active, this drop becomes a perfect storm for cramping. The muscles are already low in magnesium. Combine that with nighttime inactivity, and reduced blood flow, and a painful cramp becomes almost inevitable. Large dinners are another hidden trigger. Eating a heavy meal close to bedtime forces your digestive system to work harder when your body wants to slow down. Digestion requires minerals, especially magnesium. When your body focuses on digestion, fewer minerals are available for muscle relaxation. This is why some seniors find themselves waking up at night with cramps only on the days when they eat their largest meal at dinner. Then there is the dehydration pattern. Many older adults tell me they stop drinking water after 6 p.m. so they won't have to get up at night. I understand why. Sleep is precious. But what they don't realize is that their muscles rely on steady hydration, not just daytime hydration. By avoiding water in the evening, they begin the night at a deficit. Every hour without fluids tightens the muscle fibers just a little more. Pair this with a salty or sugary meal, and the legs become vulnerable to cramping by early morning. What makes these patterns so powerful is that seniors rarely notice them happening. They feel normal. They feel harmless. They feel like part of a routine that has been the same for years. But the body changes over time. What once caused no problems can suddenly begin to affect your muscles, your circulation, and your nighttime comfort. I once worked with a woman who had cramps every night at nearly the same time, around 3 in the morning. She believed her problem was nerve-related. But after reviewing her routine, we discovered she always ate a bowl of salty noodles for dinner and rarely drank water after 5 in the afternoon. The fix was simple. She swapped her salty dinners for fresh meals and added a small cup of water before bed. Within a week, her nightly cramps stopped entirely. She told me, "I never knew my evenings were causing my nights." These patterns are not about blame or mistakes. They are about awareness. Your muscles respond to the rhythm of your day. Once you understand the small habits that shape that rhythm, you can begin making changes that help your muscles stay calm, hydrated, and balanced. Now that we've uncovered these hidden patterns, it becomes easier to understand how food directly affects the chemistry inside your muscles, which is exactly what we'll explore next. How food impacts muscle chemistry. To truly understand why certain foods trigger leg cramps, it helps to take a gentle look inside the body and see how the muscles actually work. You do not need a medical degree for this. Just imagine your muscles as small, busy communities. In these communities, minerals act like the essential workers that keep everything running smoothly. When those workers are missing or overwhelmed, the entire system becomes unstable. And instability is exactly what leads to a painful cramp. Your muscles follow a simple cycle. They contract, then they relax. That rhythm is what allows you to walk, stand, climb stairs, or stretch your legs when you get out of bed. But the contraction and relaxation cycle only works when the right minerals are present in the right amounts. Sodium, potassium, calcium, and magnesium all play critical roles in this cycle, and food directly influences how much of each mineral your body has available. Let's start with sodium. Sodium helps your muscles contract. You need it. But too much sodium disrupts the ratio between sodium and potassium. When sodium is high, water shifts out of the muscle cells and into the bloodstream. This creates tension inside the muscle fibers, as if someone were tightening a rope from both ends. When this tension builds and the muscle cannot release naturally, a cramp forms. Now think about potassium. Potassium helps your muscles relax after they contract. If you do not get enough potassium through food, your muscles struggle to reset after every movement. Seniors often have lower potassium levels without realizing it, especially if they eat processed foods or do not consume fruits and vegetables consistently. When potassium is low and sodium is high, the contraction part of the cycle becomes too strong and the relaxation part becomes too weak. That imbalance is a common recipe for muscle cramps. Next comes calcium. Most people think of calcium only in terms of bone health, but calcium plays a major role in muscle movement as well. It helps initiate the contraction of muscles. If your calcium levels fluctuate, your muscles may receive mixed signals. They may contract too easily or fail to relax fully. Calcium balance becomes even more delicate with age because the body absorbs less of it from food, and certain medications can interfere with calcium absorption. And finally, magnesium. If calcium starts the contraction, magnesium completes the relaxation. Magnesium is the mineral responsible for helping your muscles release tension. Without enough magnesium, your muscles may stay partially contracted even while you sleep. That creates a restless, charged environment inside the muscle, making cramps far more likely. Magnesium is also the mineral most easily depleted by sugar, caffeine, stress, alcohol, and certain medications. Many seniors unknowingly walk around with low magnesium levels every day. When food disrupts this mineral balance, the quiet harmony that keeps your muscles calm begins to unravel. High sodium foods lift sodium too high. Sugary foods push magnesium too low. Dehydration foods tighten the muscle fibers from the inside. Inflammatory foods irritate the nerves that run along the muscle. And large meals before bed pull minerals toward digestion rather than muscle relaxation. I often use a simple analogy with my patients. Imagine your muscles as electrical wires. These wires need clean, steady currents to work properly. When the currents are smooth, your muscles move freely and rest peacefully at night. But when you eat foods that disrupt mineral balance, it's like sending small electrical surges through those wires. The wires become jumpy, reactive, and prone to misfiring. That misfiring is what you feel during a cramp. You might not sense these disruptions throughout the day because you're moving, walking, stretching, and stimulating your circulation. But at night, when movement slows and blood flow becomes lighter, the imbalance becomes more noticeable. The muscles depend more on minerals because circulation is not delivering fresh oxygen as quickly. If one part of the cycle is off, the whole system becomes vulnerable. This is why cramps so often strike when everything is quiet and still. I once worked with a gentleman who told me, "I thought my cramps were random. They felt like someone flipping a switch." In truth, 1,000 small switches were being flipped all day through food choices that tightened his muscles little by little. When he adjusted his diet, focusing on foods that supported mineral balance and reducing foods that drained or disrupted it, his cramps became dramatically less frequent. Understanding this chemistry is empowering. It means you are not helpless. You are not at the mercy of your age. Your muscles are responding to signals from your food, and when you change those signals, your muscles change too. The contraction and relaxation cycle can become smooth again. The electrical wires can fire gently instead of chaotically. The rope can loosen rather than tighten. Now that we've explored how food affects the very chemistry of your muscles, let's look at the foods that support relaxation rather than tension. These foods can help you sleep more peacefully and wake up without pain. what seniors should eat instead. After understanding all the foods that can tighten the muscles, irritate the nerves, or disturb the delicate mineral balance your legs depend on, it is equally important to talk about the foods that help your muscles relax and recover. Many of my patients feel relieved when they reach this part because it shifts the focus from restriction to nourishment. Instead of thinking about what to avoid, you begin thinking about what to add. And adding supportive foods is often easier, gentler, and more enjoyable than trying to eliminate everything all at once. When it comes to easing leg cramps, the foods that help most fall into a few simple categories. They hydrate the body, they deliver the minerals your muscles crave, they calm inflammation, and they help maintain steady blood sugar throughout the night. These are the foods that give your muscles what they need to stay relaxed during sleep. One of the most valuable categories is magnesium-rich foods. Magnesium is the mineral of relaxation. It allows muscles to release tension after contracting. Without enough magnesium, the muscle fibers behave like a clenched fist that cannot fully open. Many seniors develop magnesium deficiency without realizing it, because aging reduces absorption and certain medications quietly lower magnesium levels. You can gently restore this balance by eating nuts, seeds, leafy greens, and whole grains. Almonds, pumpkin seeds, cashews, quinoa, brown rice, and spinach are wonderful additions. Even something as simple as adding a small serving of nuts to your evening routine can help your muscles stay calmer overnight. Potassium-rich foods are another essential group. Potassium helps muscles relax by balancing sodium. It keeps the electrical signals between nerves and muscles steady and prevents overstimulation. Bananas, avocados, oranges, potatoes, and tomatoes are common sources. Many seniors already enjoy these foods, but eating them consistently is the key. I often suggest adding a piece of fruit or a small serving of potatoes or avocado at dinner, so potassium levels remain steady through the night. Hydrating foods also play a powerful role in preventing cramps. These foods carry water into your cells, helping the muscles stay moist and flexible. Cucumbers, watermelon, berries, broth-based soups, and citrus fruits are excellent for hydrating from within. Seniors who struggle with drinking enough water often find it easier to rely on hydrating foods, especially at dinner. These foods do not cause nighttime bathroom trips the way a large glass of water might, yet they still support your muscles through the night. Another group of helpful foods includes anti-inflammatory options. Chronic inflammation is a hidden contributor to muscle tension and nerve irritation. When inflammation rises, your muscles become more reactive and sensitive. Foods like berries, salmon, olive oil, turmeric, ginger, and leafy greens help reduce inflammation gently and naturally. Many seniors notice a difference within a few weeks of introducing more anti-inflammatory foods into their dinners. One of my patients struggled with nighttime cramps for years. She tried stretching, she tried massage, and she tried changing her pillow positions, but nothing lasted. When we reviewed her diet, she realized she ate very few anti-inflammatory foods. She began adding a handful of blueberries to breakfast, salmon twice a week, and a drizzle of olive oil on her salads. Within a month, she told me, "My legs finally feel like they're on my side again." That small shift made a big difference. Even small nighttime snacks can help. A banana with a spoonful of peanut butter, a handful of nuts, a small magnesium-rich smoothie, or a warm cup of broth can support muscle relaxation. These snacks steady your mineral levels and keep your muscles calm through the hours when circulation slows and your body is most vulnerable to cramping. It is not about perfection. It is about creating a supportive environment for your muscles. You do not need to change everything at once. Instead, think of your meals as opportunities to help your muscles stay hydrated, balanced, and nourished. When you feed your body what it needs, it responds with fewer cramps, better sleep, and more peaceful mornings. Now that we have explored supportive foods, let's turn to real stories from seniors who made these changes and found relief. These stories remind us that your body is capable of improving at any age and that even small steps can create meaningful change. Real patient stories. One of the most powerful parts of my work has always been listening to the stories behind each cramp, each restless night, and each moment of fear or frustration. Every senior who walks into my clinic brings a history, a lifetime of habits, a unique rhythm to their days and nights. And often, the breakthrough comes not from a test or a prescription, but from understanding the story behind their symptoms. I want to share a few of these stories with you, not as medical cases, but as reminders that change is possible, no matter your age, and that small shifts can bring profound relief. The first story is about a woman in her early 70s who came to me after months of intense nighttime cramps. She was active, careful about hydration, and even took daily supplements. Yet her cramps were so severe that she would jump out of bed in tears. When we reviewed her daily habits, one detail stood out. She loved convenience foods. Canned soups, frozen dinners, and microwavable snacks were easy for her to prepare. What she didn't realize was that these foods were filled with more sodium than her muscles could handle. Her cells were constantly struggling against dehydration and electrolyte imbalance. When she switched to low-sodium homemade meals and added a magnesium-rich snack before bed, her cramps began to fade. 2 weeks later, she told me, "I thought I needed stronger legs, but what I really needed was kinder food." That realization stayed with her, and she has been cramp-free for more than a year. Another story involves a senior gentleman who enjoyed a sweet treat every night. Sometimes it was a slice of cake, sometimes a sugary coffee drink. He saw it as a small reward at the end of the day. But his cramps always struck between 3 and 4 in the morning. He assumed it was circulation. He assumed it was aging. He assumed it was simply part of getting older. But when we connected the dots between his sugar intake, his magnesium loss, and the timing of his cramps, everything clicked. He replaced his dessert with a potassium-rich fruit bowl and added a handful of nuts to maintain his magnesium levels overnight. His cramps stopped within a week. He came back to my office with such pride in his voice and said, "I didn't know I still had this much control over my own body." And he did. He just needed the right information. The final story is one of my favorites because it shows how tiny changes can turn into lasting transformation. A woman in her late 60s came to me exhausted. She had cramps almost every night and was beginning to fear sleep itself. She had tried stretching, massage, heating pads, and supplements. Nothing worked for long. When we reviewed her routine, she confessed that she ate her largest meal at night because she often skipped breakfast and had a light lunch. Her digestive system was working overtime at dinner, pulling minerals into the digestive tract rather than sending them to her muscles. She agreed to shift her biggest meal earlier in the day, and she added a warm broth and a small potassium-rich snack before bed. 3 nights later, she slept without a cramp. 2 weeks later, she said she felt like she had reclaimed her evenings. These stories illustrate something profound. Your body is not stuck. It is not too late. Your muscles still listen to what you feed them. They still respond to balance, hydration, and gentle care. And while no two people are exactly alike, the principles remain the same. When you reduce trigger foods and nourish your muscles with what they need, the tension eases, the nerves settle, the nights become calmer. Hearing these stories, I hope you feel encouraged. Not pressured, not overwhelmed, encouraged. Because the same healing is available to you. Your muscles are not failing. They are waiting for support. And with the right steps, they can relax again. Now let's explore the gentle lifestyle corrections that help seniors maintain this balance day after day. As much as food shapes the chemistry inside your muscles, your lifestyle choices give your body the rhythm and support it needs to stay balanced. When seniors think about managing leg cramps, they often imagine complicated routines or strict regimens. But the truth is that small, gentle habits can make a remarkable difference, especially when combined with better food choices. These corrections are not dramatic. They do not require expensive equipment or strenuous effort. They simply help your body do what it is naturally designed to do. One of the first areas I focus on with my patients is hydration. Many older adults try to manage nighttime bathroom trips by limiting water after a certain hour. I understand why. Interrupted sleep can be frustrating, but going to bed even slightly dehydrated can make leg cramps far more likely. The key is not to drink large amounts of water late at night, but to build a hydration rhythm earlier in the day. A steady intake from morning through late afternoon keeps your tissues moist and flexible while giving your kidneys enough time to process fluids before bedtime. Another powerful lifestyle correction is incorporating a simple stretching routine. It does not need to be long. It does not need to be intense. In fact, gentle movements are often more effective because they coax the muscle fibers into releasing tension rather than forcing them. A slow calf stretch, a hamstring stretch, or a gentle pointing and flexing of the toes can teach your muscles how to transition between contraction and relaxation. Many seniors tell me that adding 5 minutes of stretching in the evening became their turning point. Their legs felt lighter. Their muscles felt more obedient. Their sleep felt easier. Circulation plays a key role as well. As we age, blood flow to the legs naturally decreases. This decline does not mean your body is failing. It simply means your muscles need a bit more encouragement. Short walks throughout the day, light chair exercises, or even lifting your heels while seated can improve circulation. When your muscles receive a steady supply of oxygen and nutrients, they are less likely to enter that painful tightening cycle at night. I often recommend a warm foot bath or a heating pad for seniors who struggle with cold feet or sluggish circulation. Warmth relaxes the blood vessels and calms the nerves, creating an environment that invites the muscles to rest rather than contract. One of my patients began soaking her feet in warm water for 10 minutes before bed. She described it as a small ritual that not only reduced her cramps, but also gave her a sense of relaxation she had not felt in years. Foot positioning while sleeping also plays a surprisingly important role. Many people unknowingly sleep with their toes pointed downward. This position shortens the calf muscles and increases tension, especially during the early morning hours when circulation is lowest. Placing a small pillow under your knees or adjusting your sleeping posture can help keep the leg muscles in a more relaxed position throughout the night. Another lifestyle factor is meal timing. Eating your heaviest meal closer to lunchtime and choosing lighter dinners gives your digestive system more time to work during the day. When digestion is not competing with muscle relaxation at night, your mineral balance remains steadier. This reduces nighttime nerve sensitivity and muscle tightness. One more area to consider is reviewing your medications with your doctor. Certain medications affect mineral levels, hydration, or nerve sensitivity. Diuretics can increase water loss. Some blood pressure medications change sodium balance. Other medications may influence magnesium or calcium levels. A simple review can reveal hidden connections between your prescriptions and your nighttime symptoms. I once worked with a man who believed he needed physical therapy for his cramps. In reality, his medication was draining his potassium levels. After adjusting the dosage with his physician, his cramps eased dramatically. Not because he stretched more or walked more, but because his body regained the balance it needed. These lifestyle corrections are not meant to overwhelm you. They are meant to guide you toward a more supportive daily rhythm. Your body loves consistency. It thrives on gentle care. And with each small shift, you strengthen your foundation for calmer nights and more comfortable mornings. Now that we have explored everyday habits that influence leg cramps, it is important to discuss when these symptoms may be warning signs of something deeper. Let's look at the medical considerations every senior should be aware of. Important medical considerations. As comforting as it is to know that food choices and simple lifestyle habits can dramatically reduce leg cramps, there are times when these cramps may be trying to tell you something deeper. Your body communicates through sensations, and leg cramps are one of its more forceful ways of getting your attention. They are not always signs of danger, but sometimes they are signals that deserve a closer look. One of the most important things I teach my patients is to pay attention to patterns. A cramp once in a while after a busy day or a heavy meal is one thing, but cramps that become more frequent, more intense, or more specific can point toward underlying issues that need medical evaluation. Circulation problems are one possibility. When the arteries in the legs become narrowed or stiff, blood has a harder time delivering oxygen to the muscles. Without enough oxygen, the muscles become irritable and prone to sudden tightening. Seniors with circulation concerns may also notice cold feet, slower wound healing, or pain when walking. These symptoms should never be ignored. Poor circulation does not always cause visible changes, but it definitely creates the perfect environment for recurrent cramps. Nerve irritation is another potential contributor. As we age, the nerves in the legs and feet can become more sensitive. Conditions like neuropathy, spinal issues, or nerve compression can cause symptoms that feel like cramps, but are actually nerve misfires. These misfires can be triggered by certain foods, dehydration, or mineral fluctuations, but they can also point to nerve-related conditions that benefit from early diagnosis. Dehydration can also be a sign of something more. Seniors sometimes become dehydrated, not because they forget to drink water, but because their kidneys process fluids differently than they used to. Some medications increase urination, while others change how the body handles minerals. When dehydration becomes chronic, cramps can become more persistent. If you find yourself constantly thirsty, fatigued, or prone to lightheadedness, it is worth discussing with your doctor. Medication side effects are an often overlooked cause of nighttime cramps. Diuretics, commonly prescribed for blood pressure, can lower potassium and magnesium levels. Certain cholesterol medications may affect muscle metabolism. Some asthma medications influence calcium channels. Even over-the-counter remedies like antacids can affect mineral absorption. A simple medication review can uncover hidden contributors that no amount of stretching or hydrating alone will fix. I once met a woman who tried every home remedy she could find. She stretched, she massaged, she wrapped her legs in warm towels, she changed her diet, yet her cramps continued almost every night with the same intensity. When we reviewed her medications, we discovered that one of her prescriptions was significantly lowering her magnesium levels. After adjusting her dosage and adding a small magnesium-rich evening snack, her cramps improved within days. This is why paying attention matters. Your body is wise. It whispers before it shouts. Cramps are sometimes whispers, sometimes shouts, but always messages. Medical evaluation does not always mean something is wrong. It simply means you are gathering information to support your body more effectively. If your cramps occur with numbness, swelling, color changes in the skin, or weakness, it is especially important to speak with a healthcare professional. These symptoms can indicate circulation or nerve issues that deserve prompt attention. It is also helpful for seniors to periodically check their mineral levels, especially magnesium, potassium, calcium, and vitamin D. A simple blood test can reveal imbalances that might be contributing to muscle tension. Addressing these imbalances early can prevent cramps from becoming chronic or debilitating. Remember, seeking medical insight is not a sign of worry. It is a sign of wisdom, a sign that you understand your body deserves care, attention, and clarity. You are not alone on this journey. You have support. You have guidance. And you have the ability to take meaningful steps toward relief. Now that we have reviewed the medical considerations that may accompany leg cramps, we are ready to bring everything together and close with a message of hope, gratitude, and empowerment. As we come to the end of our time together, I want to leave you with something deeply important. Leg cramps are not failures of your body. They are not signs that you are falling apart or that age has taken something from you. They are signals, gentle, persistent messages from a body that has carried you through more years, more memories, and more challenges than you may ever fully realize. And those signals are simply asking for care, attention, and understanding. Your legs have walked you through decades of life. They held you as you learned to stand, supported you through work and family, steadied you through grief, and carried you toward joy. They have been faithful companions on your journey. They deserve patience. They deserve compassion. They deserve the gentlest version of you. And here is the beautiful truth. Even after 60, even after 70, even after 80, your muscles still respond. They respond to cleaner foods. They respond to better hydration. They respond to balanced minerals and calmer routines. Your body is incredibly adaptive. It is waiting for you to give it what it needs, and when you do, it rewards you with steadier nights and more peaceful mornings. So if you feel overwhelmed by everything we discussed, take a breath. You do not have to change everything today. You can start with one small shift. Drink a little more water earlier in the day. Choose a cleaner dinner. Add a magnesium-rich snack. Stretch for a few minutes before bed. One step is enough to begin healing. One step is enough to move forward. And remember this, you are not walking this path alone. Senior Health Daily is here with you, guiding you, supporting you, and cheering for your well-being every step of the way. Your body still listens, it still responds, and it still wants to carry you forward.